One of the hardest conversations we have with clients usually starts after something has already gone wrong. A spouse passes away, and suddenly a surviving spouse is responsible for financial decisions they may never have had to handle alone. We see this all the time. And unfortunately, many families don't realize how much stress, confusion, and financial pressure could have been avoided with better planning ahead of time. Hi, I'm Matthew Fitzgerald, certified financial planner with Holistic Planning, located in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. And today, I want to talk about estate planning for a surviving spouse and why proactive planning while both spouses are healthy can make an enormous difference later on. In many households, one spouse usually takes the lead financially. Maybe they manage the investments, handle taxes, coordinate with their trusted advisors. And over time, the other spouse becomes less involved, not because they aren't capable, but because responsibilities naturally divide. Then suddenly, after a loss, the surviving spouse is expected to make major financial decisions during one of the most emotionally difficult periods of their life. And that can feel pretty overwhelming, not just emotionally, but practically. And now, everything has to be figured out quickly. One of the biggest things we try to help families with is simplification and organization before a crisis ever happens. I sometimes describe it like this: you can have your eggs in different baskets, but all the chickens should still be on the same farm. Meaning, it's okay to have different accounts, different investments, and different strategies, even different custodians if appropriate. But someone needs to understand how everything connects, because when one spouse passes away, clarity matters. The easier it is to understand the complete financial picture, the easier it is for the surviving spouse to move forward confidently. Another issue, what many people don't anticipate, is something I call the widow's tax penalty. When both spouses are alive, they typically file their taxes jointly. After one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse usually transitions to filing as a single taxpayer. The challenge is that their income and expenses often don't decrease as much as their tax brackets do. So now you have someone living on a relatively similar income, but paying taxes at a significantly higher rate. And if there hasn't been proactive planning around this, it can create a major long-term tax burden. This is one reason why we talk so much about Roth conversion strategies, withdrawal sequencing, and long-term tax planning, not just for retirement, but for the surviving spouse years later. Social Security is another major area most people misunderstand. When one spouse passes away, one Social Security benefit goes away. Typically, the survivor keeps the higher of the two benefits, but they lose the smaller one entirely. And depending on the household and the lifestyle they've grown accustomed to, that can create a meaningful income gap, especially if the surviving spouse is now living alone, dealing with higher taxes, and managing everything independently for the first time. Again, this is why planning matters most. A common situation we see is a couple in their 60s or 70s who have accumulated a few $1,000,000 over their lifetime. Often we see large balances in a pre-tax traditional retirement account, some brokerage or investment accounts like a trust or a joint account, and occasionally insurance policies like life insurance or long-term care insurance. But everything is spread out across multiple institutions and organized in a way that only one spouse fully understands. The husband may have handled everything for years. Then after his passing, the wife is suddenly trying to piece it all together. Where the accounts are, how income works, what bills need attention, and what decisions need to be made. And all of that is happening during a period of grief. That's what we want to avoid. The goal isn't just growing wealth, it's creating clarity and simplicity for the people you care about most. Estate planning is not just about documents. It's not just about wills or trusts that get put on a shelf and forgotten about. It's about making sure the surviving spouse is protected, informed, and supported long before they ever need to be. Because good planning doesn't just prepare for growth, it's about protecting what you've built. And it prepares for the transition. If you're approaching retirement or have recently retired, you may not have had these conversations yet. It's a difficult conversation to have with your spouse. Trying to predict the mortality of one spouse when just entering an exciting period of your life, it's a really difficult thing to consider and talk about. Now is the right time. You can schedule a complimentary consultation by clicking the link below, and we'll walk through your current structure, identify potential gaps, and help you create a coordinated plan for both spouses. At the end of the day, financial planning is not just about numbers. It's about helping the people you love feel secure and cared for no matter what happens, so you can worry less and live more.